Meghan Markle's life since meeting Prince Harry has been treated like a drama series, with new episodes dropped whenever the public's appetite for controversy spikes. Behind the glossy magazine covers and the polished photo ops, there has always been a darker, grittier narrative bubbling away. And a recent video claiming to reveal hidden scandals seeks to stitch those fragments into a single damning storyline. The first string of stories concerns the treatment of staff and people in her orbit. Several tales allege episodes in which Meghan behaved imperiously toward waitstaff, assistants, and palace employees. And these anecdotes are the sort that travel fast on social media because they seem to confirm a narrative of entitlement. One oft-repeated image from earlier in her royal life shows a tense exchange with a waiter in Jamaica. Critics have pointed to facial expressions and body language as evidence of dismissiveness, while defenders call that kind of snap judgment unfair. Other tales suggest that aides found demands exhausting. Requests for private tables, last-minute changes, and high-stress expectations that left staff feeling humiliated or used. Even if each incident in isolation could be chalked up to an off day or a badly managed moment, the string of similar complaints creates a pattern in the public imagination. Whether that pattern reflects genuine bullying or is instead a function of how rumor amplifies the petty moments of anyone under intense scrutiny is a question worth asking. The effect, though, is real. Narratives about the mistreatment of staff seep into the mainstream, and they are difficult to erase once they stick. Running parallel to the staff stories is the recurring charge that Meghan frequently presents herself as a victim, deploying a victim narrative to inoculate herself from criticism or to command sympathy. Critics point to high-profile interviews and public statements, including the Oprah Winfrey conversation that drew global attention, and interpret them as strategic plays to frame her struggles in ways that make dissenters look heartless. Supporters, of course, counter that she has spoken honestly about mental health struggles and systemic prejudices she faced, and that telling those stories should not be construed as manipulation. The accusation that she plays the victim card rests, though, on a cultural tension. When a public figure speaks about pain, how do we separate authentic vulnerability from rhetorical strategy? When the storyteller is also a brand, the line grows fuzzier. The video argues that this tendency toward victim framing has been used to deflect scrutiny and build a sympathetic public image, especially in media outlets more likely to amplify her side of the story. Several entries on the list focus on the timing and nature of past relationships and the idea that Meghan's romantic choices were strategic. Gossip about relationship overlaps with previous partners has long been a staple of tabloid coverage, and the suggestion that there may have been an awkwardly close sequence between an ex and the start of her relationship with Prince Harry feeds those old appetites. This kind of claim is rarely revelatory in a moral sense. Many relationships end and begin in quick succession, but when attached to someone whose life suddenly becomes geopolitically visible because of a royal marriage, those private timelines are recast as evidence of ambition or calculation. The video paints the possibility of overlap as suspicious, part of a broader claim that Meghan's life has been carefully managed and that personal ties have sometimes been treated instrumentally. The family drama is another persistent strand. The public estrangement between Meghan and her father became a global soap opera in its own right, with allegations of staged paparazzi photos, last-minute absences, and public criticism traded across interviews and tabloids. That rupture, intensely private but played out in public through conflicting accounts and bitter interviews, is presented in the video as emblematic of how fame and money can corrode familial bonds. Observers see a daughter hurt by a father's media moves. Others see a father feeling sidelined and exploited. The truth likely contains pieces of both. But what the coverage makes clear is that when family grievances turn into public spectacles, they complicate any attempt to glean a simple moral lesson. Tied to both family and public reputation is the alleged rift with the royal household at large. Resignations, pointed interviews, and private grievances aired in public have, according to critics, inflicted emotional strain on senior members of the royal family, including the late Queen. Some commentators argue that certain actions and statements by the couple exacerbated tensions and damaged public trust in the monarchy. This is the kind of claim that has concrete public resonance because the monarchy, as an institution, relies heavily on public goodwill. When a highly visible former senior member of the family broadcasts stark criticisms, the institution takes reputational hits in ways that are difficult to quantify. The video asserts that these tensions led to long-term fractures with key figures like Prince William and Kate Middleton, and it ties that interpersonal drama to a broader sense of crisis within the family. The relationship between Meghan and Kate Middleton has been the subject of endless speculation, with some narratives emphasizing warmth and cooperation, and others fixating on rivalry. The video recirculates both kinds of claims, including stories of behind-the-scenes tensions and allegedly awkward moments, while acknowledging that on public-facing days, the two duchesses have presented a united front. The media's investment in a narrative of rivalry is not surprising. It sells. Yet the underlying question the gossip raises is whether perceived slights and private disagreements among two powerful public women are being magnified beyond their true significance, and whether the public demands of royal women, always intense and often contradictory, make anything less than perfect collaboration seem suspect. Materialism and questions about the use of money recur in the video's list. Critics cite expensive jewelry, designer dresses at charitable events, and questions over taxpayer money used for security and renovations as evidence that the couple sometimes misread the optics of luxury. The narrative goes like this: a couple advocating progressive values, yet living in high-end comfort risks, appearing hypocritical. Specific examples raised in the claims include expensive fashion choices and the $14.65 million Montecito home purchase that some perceived as tone-deaf relative to the couple's rhetoric about humility and duty. Prime among these charges is the suggestion that some public statements about financial struggle or sacrifice have not matched the family's spending, and that inconsistency undermines credibility. Perhaps the most explosive moment in modern royal coverage, the Oprah interview is treated in the video as both a watershed and a weapon. The broadcast unleashed conversations about race, mental health, and institutional indifference that some found revelatory and necessary. Others saw moments in the interview as strategically geared to garner sympathy and to recast the couple anew. The video reiterates the contested elements: allegations of conversations about Archie's skin color, claims of inadequate support for mental health concerns, and other assertions that sent shockwaves through the British public and beyond. The polarizing effect of the interview is a reminder that when private pain is narrated on a grand stage, it will be interpreted in vastly different ways depending on one's prior commitments and beliefs. Another claim that inflamed opinion was Meghan's comparison of the reception of her wedding to the jubilation following Nelson Mandela's release, which attracted sharp rebukes. Critics argued that such a comparison was insensitive and deeply tone-deaf, confusing personal celebration with a globally recognized symbol of liberation and suffering. People close to Mandela were understandably upset by the juxtaposition. This episode illustrates how public figures' attempts to connect personal moments to larger historical narratives can backfire spectacularly when the analogies feel disproportionate or self-aggrandizing. Tales of disruption continue with a recounting of Princess Eugenie's wedding schedule allegedly being affected by the couple's prior commitments, which the video frames as evidence of prioritizing personal agendas over family events. Whether this amounted to a genuine snub or simply unfortunate scheduling is open to interpretation, but the narrative feeds the broader theme of a newcomer whose ascendancy into royal life produces friction with established rhythms and rituals. The theme of narcissism is woven through many of the claims, often connected to social media habits prior to joining the royal family. Early Instagram posts and carefully curated public personas are used to argue that Meghan long cultivated an image of herself as central and appealing to audiences, and that her later insistence on privacy while selectively participating in high-profile media projects represents hypocrisy. The modern paradox for celebrities is that privacy and publicity are both currency and burden. Choosing when to step forward and when to step back invites accusations either of self-promotion or of inconsistency. The video also revisits the couple's use of private jets, which larger environmental advocates argued clashed with public statements about climate and conservation. Critics seized on specific travel patterns to paint the couple as eco-hypocrites, a label that stuck in the press and fed into a broader narrative about performative activism. In response, defenses frequently cite security needs and irregular travel schedules that make commercial flights impractical for high-profile figures. The debate highlights the complexity of balancing personal safety with public responsibility in the age of climate consciousness. Political engagements have also stirred controversy. Meghan's public endorsement of a U.S. presidential candidate moved her into explicitly partisan territory at odds with royal tradition, which places a premium on political neutrality. For many observers, that endorsement signaled a deeper shift away from the conventions expected of someone who had once been a senior member of the royal family, and it raised questions about the boundaries of personal expression once royal life is left behind. Multiple voices from her past, including relatives and former acquaintances, provide the fodder for accusations that she is a calculated climber. These personal testimonies paint a picture of someone who strategically cultivated connections and opportunities. Family members and ex-colleagues who tell such stories may be motivated by genuine grievances, personal animus, or a desire for attention themselves. As with much celebrity testimony, context and motive matter almost as much as the content of the claims. Public memory often privileges simple narratives, and the idea of a person strategically pursuing status is one such simplification that readily captures public imagination.